Hi everyone, this is Professor Benjamin and welcome to week 3. Well, we're moving into week 3 of this course. So as you can see, it moves really at a rapid pace. You could see why we need to cover so much material in such a short period of time. So we had a good week. For those people who did submit their forum posts, most people did well. You got to the content, you used the proper requirements for initial and response posts. Some of you are still really struggling with the due dates, meeting these deadlines, and following the requirements for the course. So you want to make sure that you find time over a weekend or before the due dates to actually read and process the material before you write your forum post. Also, put reminders in your phone or in your planner, whatever it is, about the due dates for this course. Remember, the first couple weeks of this class we're covering 2 sessions per week, so you have 2 initial posts due, 2 response posts due, and usually a quiz due by the end of the week. Some weeks we'll have 2 quizzes due. If you're unsure about the due dates, the last page of the syllabus has all of the due dates for the entire course. So make sure that you look at that and plan ahead. So last week we covered Tragedy of the Commons and Ethics, Economics, and Policy. Because only a small number of people met the deadlines, a lot of the questions weren't answered. These questions will come back on the midterm exam, so make sure that you're preparing, looking at those questions, developing answers, because a lot of times those same kind of questions will show up on the midterm exam. This week we're covering consumption and sustainability. So we have 2 sessions we're covering, consumption and sustainability. You have an initial post due for consumption by Tuesday, 11:59, and a response post by Thursday. You have, for sustainability, an initial post due by Tuesday, a response post due by Thursday. And then you'll have 1 quiz due next Sunday by 11:59. I think that's October 22nd. By 11:59, you'll have a quiz on the consumption chapter in the textbook. This week we covered Tragedy of the Commons and Ethics, Economics, and Policy. A lot of you did a great job on the Noah Ark article, whether it was considered a detriment or a plus to society. Many people didn't answer the invasive species question, which is what makes something an invasive species? Why is it a tragedy of the commons? And that's because we look for our short-term interests, remember, rather than the long-term gains of society. So, hey, that plant is beautiful. I'm going to put it in my garden. But then you forget that, oh, that plant then can wreak havoc on the garden and overpopulate at a rapid pace, and then takes over your garden and your neighbor's garden, and you just completely forgot it. And, it kind of kills all the native species that are around. So, a lot of you did that. A lot of you need to go back and read the article by Tragedy of the Commons by Garrett Hardin. This will pop up again on the midterm exam. I know it's a 30-page article, but it's not horrible read. He talks about all of the technical problems when we try and solve commons problems, and that we rather need an extension in morality. The Ethics, Economic, and Policy, a lot of you answered the Cap and Trade article, which you did a good job. The Pricing the Priceless article, yes, we can put a price tag on the environment. We do all the time. Other valuation methods we use can be found in the textbook. In this contingent valuation, hedonic valuation. So there's a bunch of different valuation systems we do also use besides cost-benefit analysis. A lot of people stayed away from the environmental injustice question. I love that question because environmental injustice does happen everywhere. This week we're doing consumption. Remember, consumption is a big deal. We are taught as Americans to consume. That's our job in society. Actually, it's not. We have a lot of other jobs in society, such as like being kind to each other, etc., but being decent human beings. But we are taught that actually consumption is our job in society. And that is what the problem is with society today, is we just have so much stuff. No one knows what to do with all this stuff, and how we can stop the cycle of buying stuff and rather maybe support a green economy, such as supporting new green infrastructure, things of that nature. And if you haven't followed the destruction in Puerto Rico, Elon Musk, who is a huge entrepreneur in America, definitely for green technology, said he'd go into Puerto Rico and put in all solar, energy grid. And his idea is, I can just start this over again. We can put a green economy and we can hire people to install all of this. So it's that whole idea of starting over, but with a different mentality to help the environment. So, does consumption buy happiness? From the evidence from the United States is a great article. It talks about social connectedness, how we strive for that. While buying stuff does lead to happiness in a very short spurt, that happiness goes away and then we want more. And this article talks about social connectedness and vehicle consumption and travel consumption for leisure time, because those memories stay with us forever, whereas when we buy something, that thrill just lasts for that moment when we purchase that item. Okay, so you want to read about this, the sharing economy. Can the sharing economy, and I'm not just talking about Uber and Airbnb, I'm talking there's tons of sharing economies out there where it's like, hey, I need to use a chainsaw, but I don't want to buy a chainsaw. So I just go on these different websites and I look it up and someone will be like, hey, I'll lend you your chainsaw for the day. I mean, it's just a wonderful idea, because I don't want to have all this stuff. And so, all these articles talk about this. And then sustainability is what we can do in reverse, meaning how can we support these sustainable companies that don't believe in just pure consumption? They believe in making quality products. The issue is that, unlike the fast fashion industry, etc., these products cost a lot more money because they last for a longer period of time. And you're not like just wearing an H&M shirt and it's a tunic and then you wash it once and now it's a half shirt. No, this is the idea that you're going to have a tunic and it's going to last for 20 years. And that is the old mentality of society. And it's like we need to get back to that a little bit, is that we don't need all this stuff that we have that just perpetually ends up in the garbage can. The Story of Stuff, which is the video that's Underconsumption, this is a fantastic 20-minute video that talks about that. And when we talk about the linear system, I want to just bring up, a lot of you might answer that question about the linear system. Remember, the answer really deals with the terminology of what a linear system is. It is a line, meaning there's only an input. We put all these natural resources in the input. We get the output, which is the product. That output never gets put back into the input again. It just ends up in the garbage. What we need to do is have a closed loop system where we take what's out of that output and we think about the products we make and what we could do with that output. Does it degrade? Does it not degrade? Should we, Dunkin' Donuts should not be using styrofoam cups. We need to use biodegradable cups that, go away. So we need to think about all of those things and make it a circular system. Okay? So that's consumption. Then sustainability here talks about, Walmart says, I want to be sustainable. And remember, sustainable means you have an economics, an environmental, and a social aspect. And when I talk about social, I mean you take care of your workers. You know where your products are coming from. They're not coming from sweatshops. And Walmart wants to push the sustainability, but then, almost all the products in their store are created by people in sweatshops. Most of those people are forced into labor in human trafficking. So this is a big problem, So this is, this week is what we're covering. So a lot of you are doing a great job. Keep it up. I know it's an intense course for the first couple weeks of this class. And then remember, after you put in the hard work for these couple weeks, then we go down to covering one session per week. So you got to put the work in now. The problem I can see is a lot of people are just like logging in Tuesday at like 9 o'clock and then trying to develop answers and reading all of this information in that 2-hour time frame until you and part of that 2-hour time frame is not just all reading. It's reading and trying to write your 2 posts. You need to find time to spread that out. I mean, I probably have no doubt that many of you will watch the Eagles game this weekend, or if they play Thursday night. If you're going to find time to do things like that, and I'm not saying that you don't need time to do things like that, especially to unwind, but if you're going to find time to participate in other activities, you also need to put that same time and effort into preparation for this class. Okay, so if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. One other thing is next week you're required to watch Food Inc. So you want to make sure that you get your hands on that film this week, because next week you have to have watched it for the forum posts. Okay, and if you look ahead, you see your midterm is due November 5th. So we are really moving ahead. And if you look under the food session that's due next week, you have a review for your midterm that you could start preparing answers for your midterm exam. Okay, so I just want to point out that we have a lot of stuff coming up in the next couple weeks that you want to make sure that you're working through these things as we move towards the midterm exam. Okay, have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the fall foliage. I hope that we start to feel like fall. Okay, but remember, keep following the devastation in California right now, the wildfires due to drought, high winds. We've had hurricanes this year. Lots of things going on in the environment that we need to be aware of as citizens of the United States. Okay, have a great day.